Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Real Talk with Amoi. I am having a conversation today with Jasmine Lawrence. She's the creator of Eden Body Works, which is a natural hair care line. And you also do skincare products as well, right? Or venturing into
Soon.
that soon.
We'll
Okay.
start making soon.
Soon. Okay. So it is a natural hair care line. They use all natural products. I've tested some of the products myself and I've become a fan. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I really have. And so I love the products so much and I really do like your story and I know that you would have some amazing insight to offer other entrepreneurs and of other people of the like and other millennials who are, starting their own ventures and things like that. So I'm just gonna let Jasmine introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her.
All right, thanks, Amoi. I'm Jasmine Lawrence, and like she said, I'm the founder of Eden Body Works. I started Eden Body Works 10 years ago when I was 13 years old, and I started making the all-natural products because I needed them for myself. I had lost my hair in a bad after a bad relaxer, and I wanted something that would make my hair strong and healthy and grow back. It wasn't until a couple years later that I decided that I wanted to share my products with the rest of the world, and that's how Eden Body Works was born.
Cool. Okay, so can you tell us like some of the first steps you took in starting Eden Body Works?
Sure. So the first step I took was putting together a business plan. I went to a business camp hosted by the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. And there we laid out, who would my target market be? What are the different pieces or ingredients of my product and how much would they cost? And, how much money would I make by charging, this many dollars versus this many dollars? So having a plan where I really thought through who would my customer be? How would I be serving them? Where would I want my products to go? Even before I picked the company name or what the labels would look like, I knew I had a plan of who I was going to try and help by making these products.
Wow. So how did you like find your like the ingredients because you use some very like exotic ingredients from like different parts of the world. Like how did you even come across, like Tahitian and Moroccan oils and things like that? How did you, find out about that stuff?
So there were a lot of trends at the time for lots of different things. People love lavender and lemon and those things like that. So those were kind of my basic just starting ingredients. But as I went to more and more trade shows and looked online and read in these books about what all these different natural ingredients could do for you, I wanted to explore all around the world. So, Tahiti, I look at the women there and the men there and they have long, wavy, beautiful hair. And I go, wow, that's something I'd probably like. What's your secret? So many people, even from Haiti and from Africa and China and Europe, and just hearing, what's unique there, what kind of ingredients are kind of trending there, or that you guys like to use or have used for centuries, and then just documenting all that research, and trying them, ordering them, in small quantities, and trying them in different formulas and seeing what works.
Now, did you do all of this like by looking online, reading, or did you actually visit some of these places?
So unfortunately, I was still in middle school. So so there was, and I didn't have my passport yet, so I didn't get to travel. But I did online. I did get to order lots and lots of different samples of things from all over the world, which is something pretty cool.
Definitely. Cool. Now, can you tell us what you do outside of Eden Body Works?
Sure. Outside of Eden Body Works, I'm a program manager at Microsoft on the Xbox One engineering team.
Okay. Now that sounds huge. Now, how do you balance your job and running a company? And I went to your celebration for the 10-year anniversary of starting the company, and I know you were in New Orleans, you did one in Chicago, and I went to the one you did in New York. How on earth do you balance and run this business and then also have a career outside of that?
So I mean, there's just a lot of things that I really want to do, and they're all a part of who I am. So when something's important to you, obviously you find time for it. I have a pretty tight schedule, not tight where it's like crammed with a bunch of things, but each part of the day kind of has its section. So, I go to work from 9 to 6, and I'll work out from 7 to 9, whatever. And I kind of really respect those boundaries between one event and another in my life. And yeah, I mean, I work a lot, but I always find time to have fun, hang out with my friends, and all those things. So you just have to find out what's the good balance for you.
Sounds cool. Um, so what lessons have you learned so far, having been in business for 10 years? What are some, I guess some of like the biggest lessons you've learned?
I have to think about that because I've learned a lot of things, and sometimes I don't realize, what I've learned from one situation or another until it's like long past the actual, event. You know what I mean? Um, like when I'm at work sometimes, when I'm at Microsoft, I learn a lot about the confidence that I have in myself and just the way that I've learned to like just communicate with other people. When I was younger and I was 13, I felt like I had to learn this secret business lingo to be able to communicate with all the people that were older than me and to really make them respect me. But when I'm at work, I don't feel like I'm striving or struggling to earn that respect, but that I just in the way that I carry myself, I don't want to say command that respect, but people know how to treat me because of the way that I treat and carry myself, and I think that's a confidence and a professionalism that I just learned from knowing that my face and the way that I carried myself was representative of my company. And so that's just been a transferable skill.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's always transferable, and that's always important. And you have to realize that we are a brand.
Yeah.
Like whether you have a brand or you don't, or you work for another company, you yourself is a brand, and how you present yourself to the world, of course, it influences how people treat you, how they look
Yeah,
at you, and they approach you, and things like that.
absolutely.
Do you have mentors or people you model yourself after?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I've met so many people in the last 10 years and even before that who would always just give me advice. And some of them are family members, some of them were classmates when I was in college, and some of them work with me at Microsoft and at Eden Body Works. And I really cherish their input. I meet with them all the time, or we email or talk on the phone, and they are just fundamental to, helping me overcome some of the new hurdles in my life. I know some people think that, oh, once you become successful, everything is really simple and easy for you and everything just flows. But really, I think that's when a lot of the challenges start, having to make really hard decisions, having to, weigh the pros and cons of something that could be very difficult that I've never experienced before. I accept the fact that I'm 23 and I don't know everything. So mentors are very, very important to me.
Do you ever meet people who, because you started your company when you're 13, it's obviously very young, and so do you ever meet people who start to say things like, "Oh man, I wasn't doing anything nearly as monumental when I was 13 or 17 or whatever the case is." Do you get that often? Like, where people start to feel down on themselves for not
Uh,
reaching a certain level of success or whatever the case is?
Yeah, definitely. It's a little awkward, and people say it jokingly a lot of the time. But there were a lot of things that they were doing that I think that they should really appreciate. Like all the free time that they may have had with their friends and families, and all of that. I mean, I won't say that my life is not something I want people to emulate, but I definitely think that everyone's going to have their own story and their own path and their own thing that's right for them. So while they weren't starting a business when they were 13, maybe they were having some other unique life experiences that are preparing them for who they need to be tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's something that I say that because I'm 25, and I know what it's like to be just in, pursuing a career and things like that, and we tend to compare ourselves with other people.
Yes.
And so we need to, number one, value our own experiences and just remember that nothing is wasted. Everything comes together for something, and we all have our own path.
Yes, for
So,
sure.
yeah. So, do you
Oh my
have.
goodness. Can you be my mentor, Amoi?
Oh my gosh. gosh, I would gladly accept that. But yeah, it's something that we all learn, and I even have a talk with a friend of mine, and I just kind of have to like remind her, um, look, we all have different backgrounds, and while you are the face of Eden Body Works, can you tell us some other people that help, make that come together? Because obviously you didn't do it all by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of my friends when I was in middle school actually were my first employees. They would help fill and label bottles. My sisters helped me in the beginning, my parents. When I first started hiring the first people to work for Eden Body Works, it was really like a point for me to communicate how much I loved it and how much it meant to me. And here's our mission and our core values. And to see people who really just live those out in their own lives, I knew I wanted them to be a part of my team. Those people are amazing, and they weren't all 13. My marketing person has a marketing degree. My PR person went the typical route, and has a lot of background and experience doing that. So I feel like for me, I'm the one who's still catching up and learning and figure out, what's my role, what do I do, how do I add value? So, there are a lot of people who are fundamental in making Eden Bodywork successful, and I don't get a lot of opportunity to thank them, outside of the email communications that we have or the phone calls we have every now and again. But yeah, definitely can't say that it was just all me and I did it all and I'm all big and bad because yeah, definitely got some help along the way.
Okay, cool. So, do you have any advice for aspiring entrepreneurs or for those who are just starting out?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked what you were saying before. And I always try and encourage people to, find their own passion and live their dream. But I really like what you said, with having your own path and writing your own story. I really, that just really resonated with me because, I could tell you all the steps of how I got started, and like maybe you or whoever's watching wants to start their own natural hair care line, but just because it's something that, it sounds cool and it might be something that they need as well, it might not be the right thing for them. So I guess my advice would be to really start getting to know yourself, spending time, learning your strengths and weaknesses, and the things that make you happy, and what impact you want to have on the world, and really surrounding yourself with people who are going to help you get to that next step. Um, yeah, doing something that's for you or unique for you or for some cause that that matters to you is going to be so much more meaningful to you than just going on a set path because you think that that's what will make you successful, or the person who went that path, they have a life that you'd like to have. So.
Right, cool. So, I have one more question that I just thought of. Your brand is what you believe because it's a part of you and everything. And so, have you ever come to the point where it might have been less expensive to use maybe like a synthetic product or whatever the case is, where you've come to a point where it's like, okay, this is what I believe, but this might be less expensive or a little easier. Do you have those balances where you have to like, you know what, this is what we're about and have to stick to that?
Yeah, so it sometimes those decisions might save you money, but it's definitely not worth the compromise. Just in the results that you're going to get and what your customers will say and feel about you, bending on those morals, it's definitely just not worth the compromise. There have been times in life also where I've had to make decisions like that, where it's like, hey, this might save time and money, but in the long run, it wasn't the right thing to do. So like when Eden Body Works was first really just jumping off, really just getting successful, I was just graduating high school. And I could have taken what some people call the easy route and just kept running the company, stayed at home, worked, 40 hours a week just doing that. Or I could spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars getting an engineering degree and doing research and, staying up late nights studying at Georgia Tech. And, it sounded really good. It sounded really great just staying at home, doing what I had been doing for the last couple of years, just hanging out, having all the free time in the world, traveling, interview, all that stuff, and not going to college and studying and all that stuff. But I knew that in the long run, it wasn't worth the compromise. That, having that degree, pursuing that thing that I really loved, even though it was going to take time and effort and money, was ultimately going to be better for me in the future. And I always just want to do what's best for the people who trust their hair and their skin to me and Eden Body Works. So
Awesome. Sounds great. So is there anything else that you'd like to add?
um, I don't know. It's been really fun chatting with you.
Yeah,
You're
it's been
like one of
great
my
talking with you.
sisters.
It's
Yeah.
nice talking with you too. You're really nice. I don't know why, but I don't know. It's I think having read your bio and it's like, whoa, this girl is like what? She studied engineering. She like ran this company since she was like 13. Um but you're like really nice. Nicer than I
Oh,
expected. I don't know. You're just really, really nice person, really easy to talk to.
thank you.
And so, yeah, I think sometimes we can get a little intimidated by what we read, but
Awesome.
but
I might, I might get a T-shirt that says that. You're nicer than I expected.
but
Thanks, Amoi.
oh, no problems. It was great talking with you, and I want to thank you for talking with us for Real Talk with the Moy, and I'll let you know when everything is ready. Guys, I'm going to include more info, all her links below in the description box, so you can find out more about Eden and also Eden Body Works, and you can find out a little more about Jasmine and all of that. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, it's been real.